I came from my brother. I visited Vietnam 4 times in 1 year. Vietnam is a wonderful place, very friendly people. Me and my girlfriend. Vietnamese people travel all over Vietnam. We can find good hotels. Do you serve breakfast? For about 10 British pounds a night for both of us. I feel very safe traveling in Vietnam. Never seen any criminals. If you've never been to Vietnam, I really recommend you go there. I come from you, and I have the opportunity to visit Vietnam 4 times a year. Every time I land in this place, I feel something very familiar again. It feels like I'm returning to a place that is both far and near. Vietnam is a wonderful country, not only because of the diverse natural scenery, but also because of the people here. People who are so simple, friendly, and warm-hearted. My girlfriend is Vietnamese. We've been through many different regions together. From the mist-shrouded mountains in the north, the sunny beaches of central Vietnam, to the vast fields of the southwestern region. No matter where you are, I also feel a very special energy. That's warmth. Attractive and serene, a bottle that I rarely find anywhere else. Vietnam has natural beauty. Make any AI be amazed. In the north are the majestic mountain ranges. Tier upon tier of terraced fields. In Sapa or Mu Cang Chai, a place where clouds float across the horizon in the morning. In the afternoon, the sun shines golden on the rice fields. In central Vietnam, there are ancient heritage sites such as Hai An and Hu, a place where time seems to stand still, leaving the houses covered in moss. The small streets are beautifully lit up at night. The south, on the other hand, has a different, more open pace of life, active and full of vitality. Along the length of the country, Vietnam is like a painting that changes its hues. Each region has its own unique charm, but they all have one thing in common: the harmony between humans and nature. Probably what I love most about Vietnam is not just the scenery, but this is a person from here. A Vietnamese person has something very special. They are friendly, modest, and always ready to help others. I once got lost in a small alley in Da Nang, and a motorcycle taxi driver stopped, smile and show me the way without asking for anything in return. I once visited a small cafe in Ninh Binh, the place where the shop owner can't speak English, still trying to communicate with a smile and gestures. Just cute. Those are the little moments. But it makes me feel deeply. What is hospitality? A seemingly simple thing, but it's the soul of Vietnamese tourism. Vietnam is also special in that I always feel safe when I travel here, even though it's walking in the old town of Hanoi at night, or ride a motorcycle through the winding mountain roads. I've never seen any crime or felt any sense of insecurity. In many other famous tourist countries, tourists often have to worry about theft or scams. But in Vietnam, I only feel peace and trust. People respect each other's space. The tourist areas are quite well managed, and the overall atmosphere is gentle and pleasant. It's that sense of security that always makes me feel at ease. Return to Vietnam, not just once, but many more times than that. One thing that really impressed me, it's the cost of traveling in Vietnam. Very reasonable compared to the quality that tourists receive. My girlfriend and I usually find clean hotels. Amenities. We have breakfast for only about £10 for 2 people. A really unbelievable number, compared to the price level in Europe. Vietnamese cuisine is also diverse and delicious, from PHBNH to CMTM. All BNHXO have their own unique flavor, both rustic and sophisticated. In Vietnam, it's just a few pounds. You've been able to enjoy a delicious meal. Not only that, but I was also served with a friendly smile. That feeling for a foreign tourist. Really precious. It's precisely such factors that make people friendly. Reasonable cost, safety, and the beauty of nature has created a lasting appeal of Vietnam. I have been to many countries in Asia, but Vietnam is different. It still maintains its own identity. In the midst of the modernization trend, you can see skyscrapers in the city, but you just need to go a few tens of kilometers away. You will encounter rice fields, craft villages, or ancient temples. Vietnam is developing rapidly, but still know how to preserve traditional values. That is harmony, rarely seen in the modern world. I realize that the charm of Vietnam, not just about external beauty, but also about the way Vietnamese people live and treat each other. They have a very strong community spirit, always ready to help others without expecting anything in return. Living culture, that harmony is reflected in every little action. Offer guests a cup of tea, greet each other with a smile, or simply a friendly nod when passing by. That's a culture that can't be copied. And it can't be found in many other places either. Maybe that's what made tourists like me feel welcomed as if we're family, and not just a random visitor. Vietnam is also a clear proof of it. Sometimes simplicity is the best thing. But here, we don't need those fancy resorts or glamorous service. Just a small homestay in the forest, a home-cooked meal with fish, boiled vegetables, and 8 bowls of sour soup. It's enough to make people feel warm at heart. It's the simplicity, and that sincerity allows Vietnam to maintain its unique spirit in a world of increasingly commercialized tourism. Of course, like any other country, Vietnam still faces certain challenges. Language barrier. Sometimes it makes tourists have a bit of trouble when communicating, especially in less touristy areas. Some famous places such as Ha Long, Sapa, and Ph Quoc can sometimes get very crowded during the peak season, reduce the experience and impact on the environment. However, these problems are gradually being improved. The Vietnamese government has implemented many policies, opened the door for visa, invest heavily in tourism infrastructure, and people are becoming more aware of the importance of protection, national image. With that rate of development, I believe that Vietnam will soon become one of the top destinations in Asia. But for me, Vietnam is not just a place to visit, but it's a place to come back to. Every time I set foot in an airport, I feel an indescribable closeness again. Maybe it's partly because my girlfriend is Vietnamese, so I have the opportunity to live and experiencing this country from a more intimate perspective, not just a tourist, but an insider. We went through the bustling local markets together, sitting and eating pho on the street, watching the sunset over the Hoang River, or simply having a morning coffee on the street corner. Those moments are so ordinary, but it stays with me like deep memories, making me love this country more than ever. If AI asks me which country is worth visiting in Asia, I won't hesitate to say Vietnam. Not because this place is perfect, but because it's genuine. Not because of luxury, but because it brings a sense of closeness and peace. I've been to countries even more distant than Vietnam, but there are few places that make me feel welcome, like in Vietnam. I've never seen a criminal who hasn't gotten into trouble. I only see smiles, greetings, and friendliness everywhere I go. Vietnam is not trying to be perfect, but it's just natural, and that sincerity makes it special. Maybe that's why I always tell my friends, if you've never been to Vietnam, you should at least try it once just to take in the scenery, but to feel the warmth from the people here, the sweetness of a glass of iced milk coffee, the lively sounds of the morning market, and the tranquility of the old streets after the rain. Vietnam is not just a tourist destination. It's an experience, an emotion, and it's a beautiful memory in my life. But Vietnam it is and will always be a place I want to return to. Not just because of the beautiful scenery or the cuisine, elegant, but because of humans, the element that makes up the soul of this country. They themselves have turned Vietnam into a place not only worth visiting, and also adorable. In an increasingly complex world, Vietnam gives me the belief that there are still places where kindness exists. Peace and human kindness still exist in simplicity, as natural as the smile of a Vietnamese person.